Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, read the question. What is the first step here? Nitin? 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 Roll number 65.
Sir.
Yeah, what is the first step? Which block we can able to reduce in the first step? ಯಾವುದು? ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಪ್ಯಾರಲಲ್ ಆಗಿದೆಯಾ, ಸೀರೀಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆಯಾ, ಫೀಡ್ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಆಗಿದೆಯಾ, ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಟೇಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ರಿಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾ?
Sir, H2 feedback.
H2
Feedback.
ಫೀಡ್ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಯಾವ್ದಕ್ಕೆ?
Sir, summation point.
What's the equation for that?
Sir, positive feedback.
This
G
is
divided by 1
acting as a positive feedback.
1 minus
1 divided by ಏನು equation ಬರುತ್ತೆ?
yes, sir.
1 divided
Sir,
by
G2 divided by 1 minus.
So we don't have any G expression here. We don't have any G variable here. So it's a feedback with a signal 1. So here we have a signal as 1. So in the place of G,
1
we have a 1. 1 divided by
1 minus
1 minus
H2.
H2. Okay, next. What's the next step?
Sir, G2 ಕೆಳಗಿರೋ signal. Sir, that's forward path ಇದೆ sir ಇಲ್ಲಿ G2 ಕೆಳಗಡೆ.
Yeah, what's the equation for this?
Sir, it's 1 plus forward path.
Is it 1 plus or 1 minus?
Minus.
Hmm?
1 minus, sir.
So 1 minus G2.
Okay.
And then that is going to make a product. So look at here, 1 minus G2 is in series with G3. So it's a product with G3. So this is the first step we can able to make a redemption here. Your roll number 66. Roll number 66.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what is the next step?
Sir, negative feedback. Sir, H2.
H2.
Sir, shifting summation point to right.
To the right side. So shift the summation point to the right side. So what's the alteration for this block? For this line? ಏನು alteration ನಾವು shift ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ?
Sir, 1 by 1 minus G1 to G3.
Yeah. So once we shift the summation, take off point from left to right. So here we have a block alteration that is 1 over 1 minus G2 into G3. So this whole block variables that will become across division part.
division point.
And then it will remain with one more feedback element as H1. So what next step?
So shifting summation point to left.
So no need of shifting any summation points. Already these two are in series. The first block and the second block, these two blocks are in series, so make it as a product. And then that is acting as a feedback to the, which one is acting feedback here?
H2.
For those two blocks, H2, yeah, H2 or H1?
H1, H1.
H1, directly we can able to write down the equation for that. So that we can able to write down like this, that feedback element. So that to avoid the confusions. 1 over 1 minus G2 into G3. So this is acting as a last feedback. So now these two are in series, and for that H1 is acting as feedback element. Write down the equation for that. And then that will be in series with G1, make it as a product at the last, that is this particular element acting as feedback. Write down the equations. So I'm going to take the temporary variables as xy. Xy divided by 1 plus xy into h1. That is with a product of g1. So just write down the feedback equation for this. That's it. Where is the next one? Written this block diagram. So here, these problems, so here we have an input, and across input itself we can able to observe the output y of s. So whatever the previous problems we have discussed, though the initial point is input and the last point we can able to observe the output. So in between that, whatever the operations we need to do, that we need to perform. So it is the block diagrams. But here both are in the same side. So first we need to make an alteration to write down in a format that the first line should be a input line and the last line should be an output line. In that manner we need to do first. So for that, so just look at the observation here. So we have a R of S, so that we need to move like this. So look at the direction here. So this direction comes across G3, G8, and then G5, and then G1, so that it can able to exit across Y of S. So we need to write down in that manner first. So initially R of S, and then we have a summation point. Afterwards, that moves to the G3. So just write down the G3 part here. Afterwards, we have one more summation point, and then write down we have a G8. So write down G8. After G8, we have a G5. So write down G5. After G5, we have a G2. So G5, G2 are in series. So we can able to directly write down. So G5 and G2 are in series. Directly we can able to write down. Afterwards, we have a G1. At the last, it takes the exit point as Y of S. So just I'm writing this directional blocks. So first we have a summation point, and then we have a G3, and then we have a summation point, and then we have a G8, and then G5, G2, and then G1 to the exit point of Y of S. Afterwards, in between G5 and G8, we have a one takeoff point here. So just look at here. In between G5 and G8, we have a takeoff point that is G4. So this is this position, write down G4. And then in between G2 to G1, we have a G7 here. So here, this one G2 to G1, here we have a G7. So those two are combining at this summation point. So just write down the summation point here. So this is an important question. It's a repeated question. If you have any doubts, clarify here itself. Afterwards, look at this summation point. After this summation point, it is moving to the G6. So G6 will end up across the summation point between G3 and G8. So here we have a summation point between G3 and G8. So here we have a G6 that is going to be end up across that summation point. So here we have a negative feedback. So afterwards, so just look at here. In between Y of S and R of S, so this is Y of S and this is R of S summation point. So here we have a one more line, so this line. So there is from Y of S, it is going to ending across the summation point of R of S. So from Y of S, it is going to end up across the summation point of R of S. So this is how we can able to write down the given block diagram. Just we have altered according to our requirement. So we'll tell you one second. Just look at here. So here R of S and Y of S are the same side, but we need to make it as a two other ends because we need a transfer function from output to the input. So that first write down R of S to the first end and Y of S to the last end. So following by the elements. So first we have a summation point, and then we have a G3, and then we have a summation point G8, and then G5, G2, G1, and then output Y of S. So write on that. So this is what we have written that. Afterwards, in between G5 and G8, we have a G4. So write down G4 between G5 and G8. And between G1 and G2, we have a G7. So here we have a G7. Followed by a summation point and G6. So just write down that summation point and G6. And that will be end up across the summation point here, that is across G3 and G8. So write down the summation point across G3 and G8. At the last, across y of x, it is going to be end up across the summation point of r of s. So that is what the last feedback we have written here. So this is how we can able to write down the alteration of the given block diagram into our requirement. So now what the once we have written like this, so it will be easier step. So what is the next step here? What is the next step? Priyanka? Priyanka? Rule number 72. Yeah. What is the first step here? ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು? ಹೇಳು, ಬೇಗ ಬೇಗ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಕ್ಕೆ ನಾಟಕ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಬರ್ತೀರಾ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಗೆ?
G7 take off point to right shift mark.
G7
Take off point right side shift mark.
ರೈಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಲೆಫ್ಟ್ ಸೈಡ್?
Right side.
ರೈಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಏನೋ ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ? ಯಾವ ಕಡೆ ಶಿಫ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಏನೋ ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜ್ ಬರ್ಬೇಕು ನಮಗೆ?
Right side shift ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ divided by left side shift ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ multiplication.
ಯಾವ ಕಡೆ ಶಿಫ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಈಗ? ಯಾವ ಶಿಫ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಉಪಯೋಗ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ?
Left side shift.
So once we shift this takeoff point from right to left, so what's the alteration here? ಏನು alteration ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಅನ್ನು? ಯಾವ್ದನ್ನ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಯಾವ್ದನ್ನ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? ಯಾವ್ದನ್ನ? ಏನ್ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಅಲ್ಲಿ?
G5 into G2.
So once we take the shift off point from right to left, here we need to do the alteration. So just make a multiplication of G7 with G2, G5. So this is what the shifting of takeoff point from So to shift the takeoff point from right to left, so look at your G5, G2 as well as G1 are in series. So write down that in a series product format. Work is the first step. So write down that G5, G2, and G1 are in series with a parallel series connection. So make it as a product. So afterwards, Priyanka, what about these two? These two blocks, G4 and this block. Priyanka, roll number 72. Yeah, what about these two blocks? G4 as well as this block. Hmm? ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಈ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಎರಡು ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ
Parallel.
ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ
Parallel.
So these two blocks are in parallel. So write on the parallel connection. So that it becomes G4 plus G5, G2, G7. So write on this step. And then what about these two blocks? Radhika,
Yes, sir.
yeah, what about these two blocks?
So multiply with G6.
So multiply with G6. So just make a product with G6. So G6 into G4 plus G5, G2, G7. So now this is acting as a feedback to the G8, and then there will be in a series with the G5, G2, G1, and then there will be in the series with G3, and the last it is acting as a feedback to the element 1. So right on the next 3 steps. Solve Modi. So with this, I'm going to end the class today. All of you just make a entry of your presence in the chat box, and then you can do the meeting.